No, it wasn't. G'day headbangers and welcome to Dozer's Metalworks. Welcome back, my fellow metalheads, to another edition of Dozer's Metalworks. Now, this week, this is a extra video for this week. As you know, many of you, I mentioned last week, I was inducted into the ICW Hall of Fame here in Canberra, and it was indeed an honour. Great night, pizza, soft drink, you know, how good is that? Did my little speech, so I thought, what perfect way to celebrate a new segment I want to start here in Dozer's Metalworks called Dozer Smash. Now, Dozer Smash will be pretty much everything to do outside of metal, but it's still going to be stuff I'm passionate about. So, whether it's wrestling, TV shows, movies, you know, basically random stuff. So I thought, what better way to start off my first edition of Dozer Smash than with my induction Hall of Fame speech. So Rex will just add that on here. Now these two cassettes here is when I started wrestling way back in the day. I started wrestling about 1998-99. Wrestled for about 3 or 4 years, then I had about 6-year break. Came back in 2009, wrestled for 15 years straight. So all up, I was wrestling for about 18 to 20 years, give or take. But these are some of my earliest matches that have been still on VHS tape, back in the late 90s there. So I'm glad Rex has still got copies of these floating around, but he doesn't have a VHS tape, so he can't watch it. But in saying that, have a good time or enjoy watching my Hall of Fame induction. Until next time, not Sean.
Saturday night, Jason will direct you.
Now to use Judy's glasses because I left my reading glasses at home, so yeah.
Gorgeous.
Old age.
Suits you.
Alright. Thanks for everyone for coming. I knew this was coming, just not as soon as this. Right, how do I start getting into wrestling? Well, as a kid, I watched it on TV because a mate at high school told me about it, because I had a Mad magazine that had these characters in it. They had an issue with a whole bunch of WWE F at the time in it, and I went to a guy at school and I said, "Daniel, who are these guys?" He goes, "Oh, that's such and such and such and such." I went, "Okay." So he invited me over after school one day, started watching it, and absolutely fell in love with wrestling straight away. And at that time, my favourites were the Ultimate Warrior, lesser degree Hulk Hogan. My favourite tag team at the time was Demolition, because they just looked totally awesome, and I didn't mind the Rockers either. And how I got into wrestling myself was, I used to be an avid comic collector. Yes, I'm a massive geek. There used to be a shop in the Civic bus interchange years ago called the Phantom Zone, and I was enriching my comic collection one day, and Brian Cannon just happened to go into the shop, and he was handing out little mini posters advertising a wrestling school. So I went, "Oh, sweet, I've always loved wrestling." And I said to him, "Well, I love wrestling, it's cool." And he goes, "Oh, you should come and start training." And didn't have the money to start that weekend, but 2 weeks later, started training. And I think the rest is history. Not many people know that Dozer wasn't my actual first name. About 2 or 3 weeks later, it was Dozer. The first name I came up with was Dump Truck. Oh, wow. Well, I know, Dump Truck. And it's, yeah, just deplorable. But it started off with Dump Truck, then we changed to Dozer. And originally Brian Cannon said I should have a power bomber, call it the Dozer Dump or something like that. But we never used that. Obviously back then, as Andy knows, I was a huge, huge fan of the Caterpillar earth-moving machinery, especially the bulldozers itself. So the initial character of Dozer was the bulldozer driver who, loved the D11 bulldozers. They're the biggest cat bulldozers they've got that work in the mines. And yeah, so everything I tried to get was I had Caterpillar boots, Caterpillar hat, Caterpillar shirt, you know, loved it. Originally it was just a cat shirt, and then later on someone suggested I get the sleeveless flanny. So then I bought that in, and then that was it, you know. That was the character from then on till I had to give it up. Back in Rex, what was it, 2000, 2001, I had to stop doing it because of work, something like that.
2001.
Yeah, because I was doing security at the time. My shift hours were like 10 o'clock at night till about 6 o'clock in the morning, so my whole day was pretty much sleeping. Billy, I'm sure you can attest to shit like that.
It's fun.
So my Dozer character, even though I was a bulldozer driver, I sort of based him around Stone Cold Steve Austin because, you know, Austin's my favourite wrestler of all time. My debut match, can't remember what year it was, I think it was 99. Debuted with IWA, which is like International Wrestling Australia, at the DYRSL Club up in Sydney. I was up against CZ Hook originally, it was meant to be a singles match. Then Mark Mercedes said, "No, we're going to put you in a tag." So ZZ and I pretty much chopped our match in half and had the cut-off point. I was teamed up with a guy called Mick Domowski, so we heel in my first match. Then Ash Phoenix was with ZZ. It was a really good match. Funny story is my first match was also my first injury. ZZ done a leg drop on me. I was sitting up, he decided to do another one without telling me. I copped a leg right in the jaw. And I had bits of shattered teeth go everywhere around my mouth. And that was a very sore jaw, because to make it even worse, Brian Cannon decided to take me and ZZ to an all-you-can-eat restaurant. And I couldn't eat shit because of that sore jaw. So yeah, and I wrestled regularly in Sydney for 2 to 3 years. And in 1999, earned deadliest finished maneuver for my pump handle slam for my WA. So yeah, that was pretty sweet. I was pretty proud of that one. So did that. And then of course started wrestling in Canberra. Now the first incarnation of wrestling in Canberra was IWA, which was the International Wrestling Office, who then became Maximum Pro Wrestling, and then it ended up becoming Capital Pro Wrestling. And then of course I left, came back years later. My first Canberra match was maxed out at Canberra Works Club. Funny enough, it was on April Fool's Day in 2000. There you go. We had a battle royal to crown the first champ. Hugh Taylor, or Lethal Injection, won it. On June 3rd, 2000 was Clash in the Capital, where I beat Hugh for the belt. Now Hugh is obviously no longer with us, may he rest in peace, but always lovingly referred to him as Hot Beef Injection. So yeah, you obviously wasn't a fan of that, but what you going to do? And as Rex was saying before, I stopped wrestling in 2001, 2002 due to work commitments. And as Rex also said, I bumped into John Raymond in the bus interchange one day and said, "Look, Rex is looking for you to come back for a run-in or something in one of the shows." And I said, "Well, I've got a different job now, and I prefer to have lead-up matches because I don't want to have just a run-in." So Rex obviously got me back for the Decade show, but he said he got me back for a few warm-up matches beforehand. And so yeah, I was officially back in 2009. Debuted Wrath in 2010. He was based on Kane for the actual wrestling style and all that kind of stuff, but the look was basically for the Slipknot guitarist Mick Thompson. So that's why he wore his mask and all that kind of stuff. Also brought in Barricade years later, who was later revealed to be Dozer, and then I merged them both together and became Warpath. Did that for a few years. Then I slowly got rid of Warpath bits and brought back in Dozer bits and just kept that. Yeah, Void was a fail, so we won't go into that, as Rex was saying. The reason I came up with Void is one of my favourite bands, who Trish and Rex actually like, is called Within Temptation, the symphonic metal band from Holland. And in one of the videos I watched, the drummer, must have been just a fill-in drum, but in the video clip he had this balaclava on, but it covered his whole face. You could see out of it, but you just couldn't see him. So I said, "That looks really, really cool. Rex, I'm bringing in another character." And of course, void, epic fail, got rid of it, see you later. So that was the thing. And then, of course, like I said to Rex one day, I said, Rex, we should start a company where everyone, including the referees, wears masks. And Rex goes, yeah, that's a good idea. So that was the birth of MWL, Masked Wrestlers League. And, you know, I brought in Bone Crusher for the idea for that. Which obviously we decided to be a round robin tournament, knockout, and go for trophy at the end. Been in a few tag teams over the years, STA, WMD, Metal Militia. But now, as you know, I had to sadly step away this year. I've got a back condition called spondylolisthesis. Try and say that 3 times fast. It's basically just bulging of discs in the back. I've had it for 20 to 30 years. I've been able to control it for years with gym work and stuff like that, strength training. But haven't been to gym in years, and the back's just deteriorated a bit more than the doctors would have liked, so I've had to stop. But like I said to Rex and Hillbilly, I will still be available to do commentary, refereeing, managing, balleting, whatever you want me to do. So I'll still be around. I did say to Rex though, I do have one more match in me. I'm saving that for when Judy brings her daughters over from the Philippines, because they really want to. Judy's streamed some of the matches on Facebook and they love it. I mean, yes, Jahara's 20 and Joyce Bell's only 17, but they love watching it and they want to see their stepdad do it. So, don't know when, within the next couple of years hopefully, so yeah. Some of my favourite matches that I've had, obviously Rex, Tristan Slade, okay, Dave Carter, who's he was Mr. Saturday Night, and who knows what he's going by now. So, you know, he was cut my best. But it's my best match is Wrath. This is a special mention for me. Was against Alex Irvine up at Goulburn. One of my best match as Wrath ever. Unfortunately, there was only about 20 people in the crowd, which really sucked. But in saying that, a big wholehearted appreciation to everyone, whether you're here or not here tonight, for all the matches I've had with you. Like Rick said, there are some matches I will deny having. Clowns, cough. But yeah, now I've got a big thank you list to go here. So specific thanks go to Brian Cannon for teaching me everything I know. Hugh Taylor for continuing that teaching and giving me a platform here in Canberra. Nick and Trish for being amazing people and for everything they do for wrestling in Canberra with CPW, ICW, you know, basically everything. And my gorgeous fiancée Judy for giving me all the love and support and coming to shows and watching me, so thank you, darling. Mandy, one of my closest friends for 20 odd years, maybe more, for everything. You are my pillar in and all the stuff you've done in wrestling back in the day, and the pillar you are in our friendship currently. TNT for the use of his ring back when we first started. Rex, of course, for inviting me back to ICW and accepting all my advice and stuff I've thrown at you in the past. Mark Mercedes for giving me a Sydney shot all those years ago. Ash Phoenix, Mick Domofsky's easy hook for my first ever tag match. Rex, Tank, and John Crossfire for being great tag team partners in SDA. Super Crimson Mask, or Blackjack as a lot of us know him as in WMD. Funny thing about our engine music for that, because he knows I love my metal, he goes, I want something heavy and cheesy. So then I came up with Manowar's Warriors of the World United, and he goes, that's perfect. So there you go. And of course, my favourite tag team partner, sorry Rex and Tank, you don't get that position, Jay Gibson, my metal brother for Metal Militia. Special mentions to Stacey Steele and She-Wolf, who really never did much in the group anyway. Tom, my wrestling brother. Dude, thank you for getting Metal Militia started, but for crying out loud, have a shave and a haircut, you look like a hobo. Love you, dude. She's not here tonight, unfortunately, but Jess, my assassin sister. Remember, nothing is true, everything is permitted. Doc Archer, being my fellow nerd and geek. Remember backstage at Belconnen one day, we were talking about stem cell research for about freaking an hour, which is just the weirdest thing to talk about. Beck and Dave Carter for everything they did. Hillbilly, dude, you're one of the most awesome dudes I've ever met. Our Simpsons back and forth have always been a dead set classic. So in saying that, fresh in your drinks, But also thank you for inviting me to ECW and everything you, Jazz and Mike Kelly have done for that. High Octane, Whoopers, for inviting me to all the Cara shows, and it was great when I was doing it. Huge audiences, backstage, this was the best I've ever done, especially the, was it the show we did the fucking Mexicans? That was hilarious. Lockie is not here, but Malachi, you are. You guys are absolutely amazing. The leaps and bounds you have come in the year or so you've been doing it. Coming from a vet, you guys are doing us proud. Keep up the good work, and yeah, and don't get an ego. So I'll all come and do a pole drive on a steel chair. Diarth is not here. Thank you for everything you've done. Rob Messenger. Now, not many people know I've known Rob since high school, so I've known him for like 30 or 40 years. So yeah. Johnny Crossfire, of course. Thank you for having me on your podcast. Benny Whiplash. Benny, I've had some great matches with you. Thanks for being my crash test dummy. One of the best things I did excite Benny with one day though, he loves Fozzy and he loves Megadeth. So when I told him that Chris Jericho did a cover of Megadeth's Peace Sells, but who's buying and seeing the clip, that was it. He just lost it. He said, don't talk to me for an hour, I'm watching that constantly. So yeah, Russell the Love Muscle. We won't go into why he may want Rex to change his entrance music. Rex, you know the reason. And there was the one story I love with Russell is once at Belconnen, I was wearing one of my Deadpool lucha masks. I've got two of them. I've got the normal Deadpool one and then I've got the X-Force Deadpool one. And it's got a bit of a thing sticks up here. And I've taken the big chunky mask I had off and he's seen it and he goes, first of all, what the hell is that? You know? And then during the match I said, work with me, Russ, work with me. And he goes, okay, put him in the corner. And then I just started rubbing it in his face. And all I hear is, it's in my mouth. Oh, no. Lucky a mask. That's why I could piss myself laughing underneath it. And the joke continued at the next show where I had both masks on. I think I had the X-Force one underneath and I had the normal one over the top. And the way we would work it was he'd get me in a headlock and then he'd rip it off and go, ha-ha! And here's my X-Force one underneath. And I go, hey, Russ! And he's just gone, oh, crap. Turns around, and then powders out of the ring. So, love that issue I did with him. Now, Ingrid, my friend Mel, who most of you guys wouldn't know anyway, and Mandy, for making such epic battle vests. Mandy's almost finished doing my Metallica one. Then the next one's a Judas Priest one. Then I want to go to Megadeth, ACDC, and Dream Theater. So I have one for every year, every month at this stage. Spencer, who's not here tonight. Bubbles, Benny the back rower. Glad you've come back after such a horrific injury. Declan, who is now OK Felicity. And Matt Wolf, who, as Rex knows, brought in the most electrifying move in sports entertainment, and it's not the people's elbow. It was called the Vanilla Ice Device. If you haven't seen it, I'm sure Rex has got it on YouTube somewhere. All the guys and girls from Sydney, Nikki Nitro was someone I brought into ICW years ago, along with Candy Love. A lot of guys from Melbourne, who years ago. Then of course the newer ones I've met through Hillbilly. They're a great bunch of guys and girls that you brought up, love them. And thanks to everyone else who I haven't mentioned so far. Jason, thank you for helping at shows and giving me some of that Rare Maiden merch. Love it, so I hope you enjoy that wine. A couple of other people that have written in at the last minute. TJ Chopper, Got the name TJ Chopper because out of all the guys I've wrestled with in the years, he had the best chops ever. Seriously. Yes, he did speak like he'd been kicked in the nuts. But yeah, he was a top bloke as well. Now we had the three brothers who wrestled for us, Rex. I'm not sure if you remember these guys. You had Wayne, Marty, and Stuart. Do you remember them? Stuart was the lanky one. They did a lot of hardcore matches together, and we'd just go, crazy idiots, let's just them wrestle each other and don't let them wrestle anyone else. Pogo and Loco, who were called the Dark Carnies. Rex, I don't know if you remember them or not. They pretty much dressed in orange overalls. I can't remember if they painted their face or not, but anyway. No, we also have Mark Morris to finish it off. He came in originally in early CPW as Dementor, you know, painted face, orange overalls, you know, real good heel, but we hit it off straight away, been mates ever since. One of my best matches that I ever had with him was when he was Tony the Thug Slater. Had a match with him up in Goulburn. It was almost like the Ashes match. You know, he had a British rugby jersey on. I had the Australian Kangaroos rugby league jersey. I think I wore the Australian flag board shorts at the time. It was a really good match. Had a bit of a promo in the night to lead up to it. Then we had the match, and in the middle of the match, he pulls out a bag. Pulls a whole bunch of thumbtacks on the apron of the ring. I went, oh, here we go. And, you know, he grabbed me, you know, hit a couple of hits, and then he's trying to ram my head into the thumbtacks. And he goes, reverse it. Okay, no worries. Bang, bang, bang. Pushing him in, head, you know, making it look really, really good. And then I hear him say, push my head into the thumbtacks. And I went, what? Push my head into the thumbtacks. Are you sure? Yes, okay. Slowly pushed his head onto the thumbtacks and hear this, ah, 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 ah. And then I let him up and he's running around inside going, ah, ah. Half a dozen or so thumbtacks sticking out of his forehead.
Oh, wow.
And after the show, his fiance came up to me and I went, don't look at me. He told me to do it. And he copped an earful as far as so, but yeah, to anyone else who I've missed over the years, thank you for all you've done and your love and support with me over the years. And yeah, that's pretty much my journey. Well, it sort of has ended, sort of happened. But yeah, thanks for all again for coming, and yeah, peace out.